Shields up, Paladins, and welcome to an Overwatch Hero Guide. As you can tell by the title of this video, I will be talking to you all about Ashe, and how I like to use this particular character. Ashe is one of the many damage roll characters within Overwatch, as well as she has 200 health. With all that being said and done, let's go ahead and jump right on over to her weapon and her abilities. Now the first thing I want to talk about is her weapon, which is called the Viper, and this is the hip fire mode on the Viper. Type is a hit scan, damage is 20 to 40, fall off range is 20 to 40 meters, max or spread angle max is 1.85 degrees, rate of fire is 1 shot per 0.25 seconds, she has a 12 round magazine, reload time is 0.5 seconds, which is the initial animation, plus 0.25 seconds per bullet, and 3.5 seconds for a full reload animation, and yes, you can get headshots with this weapon. Now, Ashe reloads the Viper 1 bullet at a time in rapid succession, instead of all at once. The more bullets used in the magazine, the longer it takes to fully reload. If the reload is cancelled before completion, some ammo is still replenished based on how many bullets loaded into the gun, instead of none at all. Unlike most weapons, the Viper is a semi-automatic weapon, instead of a fully automatic. And the first 2 shots are precise, the third is more random, and everything after that you will experience maximum spread, which is the 1.85 degrees. Now this is the Viper once again while aiming down sights or ADSing. The type is hit scan, damage is 42.5 to 85, fall off range is 30 to 50 meters, spread angle is pinpoint, the movement speed is negative 25%. The rate of fire is 1 shot per 0.7 seconds. Still, you have a 12 round magazine. The reload time is still the same with 0.5 seconds for the initial animation, plus 0.25 seconds per bullet for a 3.5 second full reload animation. And yes, you can still receive headshots with this weapon. She can jump while ADSing. And also, if Ashe stops aiming down sights, there is a 0.85 second recovery period before she can hit fire her particular weapon. Now, the first ability that we're going to talk about is her Dynamite. Now, that is an arching projectile. The damage does 30 to 75, the burn does 100 points, and self is 50%. So the maximum projectile speed is 25 meters per second. Area of effect is a 5 meter radius. Casting time 2 seconds. Duration is a 5 second burn period. And the cooldown is 10 seconds. You can damage yourself, but the damage is halved. Can be shot at with the Viper or coach gun to detonate immediately. The burn also affects barriers and turrets, and also is removed immediately upon taking a health pack. After Ashe throws the dynamite, there is a 0.55 recovery period before she can use the Viper or the coach gun. And speaking of the coach gun, that is her next ability that we're going to go into. The coach gun is a shotgun hit scan. Damage is 6 per pellet or 90 per shot. Max range is 9.4 meters. The self knockback number of pellets is 15 and the cooldown is 10 seconds. So the bullets do not need to hit anything in order to apply the knockback to Ashe. So you can just shoot that randomly and still get knocked back. And finally, her ultimate ability, which is Bob. So type it's a hit scan arm cannon. Health is 1,200. Char or damage, which first is his charge, does 120. Arm cannon does 112 per second, 14 per bullet. 1,092 overall. Movement speed is 15 meters per second. Max range is a 70 meters charge, 40 meters for the arm cannon. Rate of fire is 8 bullets per second. Duration is 10 seconds after collision. And the ultimate cost is 2,240. So Ashe passively generates a 1% alt charge for every 4.48 seconds. Bob appears slightly to the right of Ashe and lands about 5 meters in front of her, then charges in the direction after that Ashe is looking at. At once Bob bumps into an enemy or a wall, travels 65 meters, Bob halts and begins shooting nearby enemies like a turret. So now if Bob bumps into an enemy or enemies, Bob inflicts 120 damage and flings them into the air. If Bob collides with a charge, rocket punch, shield bash, or charging into another Bob, both participants get knocked down for 2 seconds. Bob automatically uses Smash's teleport if it's in his path. Bob can be healed, buffed like Nano Boost, or debuffed by a hack. If Bob is hacked, Bob becomes inactive for 5 seconds. Bob is treated as an additional player when contesting / capturing objectives and for Wrecking Ball's adaptive shield. Bob counts for eliminations in deathmatch. Damaging or healing Bob does not give ultimate charge, but damage boosting as Mercy does. Also, Ashe can still gain ultimate charge while Bob is still active, but not by the damage dealt by Bob. So in other words, Bob can be out, but you can still regenerate your ultimate charge, but it has to be the shots that you're doing, not by what Bob is doing. Okay? So, pros and cons are a strength or a weakness. Ashe is a hero who requires good mechanical skill to be played effectively, bottom line. Her weapon, the Viper, is quite powerful at long to mid range. Practically, whether the player uses her ADSing or her ADS or aim down sight, alternate fire. Her dynamite is dangerous, versatile ability that can threaten space or even choke points or a narrow passage. Throw that in there, boom, pop it. Everyone gets hurt and deal damage in the radius. Uniquely, dynamite can be detonated early by shooting it instead of just letting it sit there and blow up on its own. Her coach gun serves as both a defensive get-off-me tool, like Lucio's Soundwave, and also it's the potent mobility option, like far as concussive blast. Finally, her ultimate ability calls out as Omnic sidekick Bob, who rushes in and knocks enemies into the air, and then grounds himself to shoot enemies much like a turret. So overall, she can pretty much, in my personal opinion, she can really keep a point down to herself with the abilities that she has, if she is played correctly. Now, through the dominant, a lot of the weaknesses that she has is she suffers in close quarter combat. Her primary fire, which is quite fast and deals only mild damage, and the coach gun is pretty much on a very lengthy cooldown to kind of help her in close quarter combat. Most of her abilities require good follow-up, such as detonating dynamite and making quick shots after jumping with the coach gun. Dynamite can be rather tricky. While it deals impressive damage over time, it also damages Ashe if she is too close to the blast. Overall, Ashe is best played close to her teammates, so she can have her backup available if she brings out, or if she's being harassed for that matter. Bob, through incredible, is though he's a very, very incredibly strong, but he can be easily countered by the enemy team, as well as he can be hacked, slept, and stunned in the same way he can be boosted by a friendly teammate.